Okay, so in this chapter, we'll be talking about debugging in Python. We'll learn how to use the PDB module, which has an interactive Python debugger implemented. We will go over some common scenarios when it comes to debugging. We'll learn how to pause the execution of our program, check the values of our variables, as well as observing the execution of a program step by step. But first, we're going to start off by talking about the PDB module a little. So the PDB module is going to be imported like this in your Python program. So import PDB. But first, I want to show you how you can actually run and execute debugging through our command prompt on our Windows machine. So first, we're going to have to make an example test code, which we're going to do like this. So we're just going to make a test function so you can actually see how debugging works. So we're just making any test function. It's just going to calculate a sum of two arguments. So for I in range of B. Sorry, that's pretty much it. So it's just it could be anything. It could be in debugging. You can pretty much have any piece of code. So this is just an example. Just keep that in mind. So sum. Okay, we don't want to purchase right now. Alright, so here's our code. We just minus that, and we're going to head on over to our command prompt. You're just going to find your command prompt. Alright, so we're going to have a line of code that's going to look like this. Not a line of code, it's really a command in command prompt that we're going to be able to access the debugger through the command prompt and using Python. Alright, so but first we're going to change the directory here because for me it's simpler in this. First, before I do that, I'm going to show you what this command looks like. So we're going to type in Python -m, which means module, and then we're going to write PDB. So now we're using the PDB module, and we're going to have two options here. We're going to have the path to script, let's say, or we're going to have the actual script name .py. What I like to do, I like to go to the directory itself and do this line so I don't have to remember the path. So I made it easy. I set up beforehand a folder on my desktop. So we're just going to change the directory to the desktop, and then we're going to change it to I called the folder debugging, so it's right there. So now we can do this line, this actual command. So we're going to type in Python. We're going to do -m PDB. That's TDP. PDB. And we're going to say I named it test. So test.py. And there you go. So here it opened the file and then debugging has begun. So here will be several commands we'll be talking about later on. So that's how you access it from the command prompt. So now we can actually do it from our code, for example. So here we go. So let me just check something. So okay, so we're going to do a new a new piece of code. So we're going to use the debugging now, the debugging module inside our Python script. So we're going to do import PDB, and then we're going to write some code that's going to be tested for tracing. All right, so statement 1, and then we're going to have a for loop. So for I in range of 5, don't forget the colon in Python, and print, and we're going to have a statement, and then we're going to concatenate it with str string that is this I plus 2. And then we're going to use something called there's a method in the PDB module called set trace. And then after that we're going to say print statement 7. All right, there's that. So, all right, there's that. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to, just let me move something over here. Okay, so now we're going to do the following. So let's actually build this. See if we can actually build this right here. All right, so there's our sort of debugging. So debugging was done inside the script itself, and it traced back to this line right here where this command was put in. So another way we can do this is there's an actual way of calling the debugger itself. We do the following. So you can also do calling. You can call the debugger like this. So you do pdb.run, and and then you have some sort of argument. You call a function that activates the debugger. So you have, for example, this. So pdb test, and then you have 2.5. So the argument we passed in this, let's get rid of this for now. So the argument we passed in this is, let me see here, is a string which the interpreter can parse as a programming statement. The debugger pauses the execution before the first Python statement. Alright, so that was our alternative way. I should have said that before, but anyway. So what we did before, I should have explained in a better way, is that there's a way we start the program at any moment, and that is, so we don't have to do it exactly from the beginning of the file. We can do it from where we set trace, this trace. That's what that did. So I should have said that before, but that's my mistake. But anyway, we're getting to it now. So when we use this, we call the debugger at any certain place we want in the program. And the debugger activates on the first line after this statement. So we can also do this in the terminal as well. So we're going to open up our terminal again, and then we're going to you're going to see that the debugger is going to open inside the terminal. So we're just going to do the same thing as before. Desktop cd debugging, and then we're going to just run our code. It's called test, right? So it's called test.py, and there's our debugger after statement 7. So you might want to, I know I'm just using the name test, you should probably use a better name in your own code that's more descriptive, but anyway, just an example. So we also have another way of calling the debugger it's called post-mortem debugging. So what this is basically calling the debugger after the execution of the program has stopped. So we do this in the following way. We're just going to do this. So you do pdb.pm. PM means postmortem. So this calls the debugger after the program has crashed or something. So if there's an error, it'll call the debugger afterwards so you can fix the error or whatever. So we're going to do the command prompt again. So here there's a command called exit. You can just exit it, or you could do run. There's another command called run in a debugger, which I'll use later on to restart debugging. So we're going to do test.py, and I made a mistake here, so hold on a sec. Oh, that's because there's nothing else. The program finished, so there's no problem here. So that's what I was basically saying. So anyway, we showed that it works. So if there was a problem, it would actually do debugging after the program crashed. So that's pretty much all the basics of debugging. The next time we'll work with certain commands in the actual debugger itself. We hope you tune in next time.